This tale is kind of a strange one. I don't know what I would put it into as far as a category, paranormal, supernatural. I'm not sure. It was told to me by a friend. It was relayed to me as something horrible that happened to her, and you can make of it what you will. It was a friend who had spent the night out on a Friday night. Typical day out of work, finished, get home, go dress up to party for the night, go to a dance club, drink a bunch, stay out super late, and come home on the last train, probably 1 a.m., 1:30 a.m. A little bit tipsy, having a pretty crazy night, but definitely happy to be home. She came home and she said it was really strange because as soon as she walked in, you come into the Genkan, which is where you put your shoes down in Japan. And then she said you walk into a hallway and get to the living room. And in the living room, her family had set up their 3 futons and were laying on the floor. Her mom and her dad and her older brother. And she said that was really strange because they all had their own separate rooms. Why would they set up their futons in there and sleep all together in there? So she was a little weirded out, but she thought, well, maybe there's some sort of explanation here. I'm not going to wake them up and find out why right now. I'll just go ahead and head to my room and go to sleep for tonight and ask them tomorrow. And that's when she started to hear screaming from her little brother's room because she had one more family member. And she said, oh yeah, my little brother isn't out here sleeping. Why is he not here? And why do I hear screaming coming from his room? So she ran to his room, of course alarmed at this point, even more so than just seeing the 3 people who are sleeping out in the living room by the screaming. Goes to his room, finds him sitting up in bed, because he had a normal bed, and screaming and pointing back to the living room. She's like, what's wrong, tell me what's wrong, tell me what's going on. And he just wouldn't answer, he was just fixated, pointing, screaming, like pointing back to the living room where she had just seen her mom and dad and older brother. So she's just like, what the hell is going on? She runs back to the living room, and she said at that point things got super strange. She sees the same 3 people, her mom, her dad, her older brother. Their bodies are inside of their futons still, which are kind of like a mix between like a mattress on the floor and sort of a big duvet covering them. And they're floating there, and the bodies are slowly rotating in the air, and they're all parallel. And their mouths are open, stuck into a scream of horror, just absolutely thrust into horror, screaming, and blood pouring out of their mouth into like little bubbles that are coming out of their mouth and going up into the air, like floating as if blood was popping out into space and having no gravity. And at this point, she's totally freaked out. She gets so scared, her heart's beating crazy, her adrenaline's rushing. She said like her vision around her started to like close up and go blurry and tunnel and then fizz out, and she said she just blacked out. She just didn't know what the hell happened. She blacked out. She wakes up the next day in the living room, and her parents' futons are not there. And her mom actually wakes her up. She's kind of, moves her in the morning. She's like, hey, what happened? You come home so drunk you fell asleep in the living room? And she's like, no, I think I passed out here because I saw you guys sleeping here. And she's like, we didn't sleep here last night. And she told her, you guys didn't, all 3 of you didn't sleep out here last night? She's like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. We never slept out here in the living room. Why would we sleep in the living room? We all have our own rooms. And they all acted like, what the hell are you talking about? And she said from that night on, they never talked about it again. She never understood quite what she had seen. And she also said that she never really wanted to go out drinking anymore after that. Like, it kind of took the fun out of going out drinking at night. So now she's more of a homebody. Kind of a strange story, but a scary one nonetheless.